How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at how you can try and turn around the fortunes of a team that's not performing very well on Football Manager. If you're finding yourself in a position when you're playing Football Manager where it's not really going quite to plan, there's some really simple things that you can try and do just to try and change around your fortunes. The first thing that we're going to take a look at is having a look at the player morale. So, of course, morale is going to be a very important thing to take a look at when you're managing any team on Football Manager. Obviously, the more games that you are winning on Football Manager, the likelihood is that the morale of your team is going to be higher. And the higher that your morale is, then that you're going to have probably a better chance of winning games. Of course, there's quite a few different ways to increase player morale on Football Manager. One of my preferred methods is to you can basically speak to the players, go to praise player and praise their conduct. I do find this works pretty well most of the time. So, for example, Yannick Bolasie here was on okay and now his morale's gone up to very good. I do tend to normally go through whoever it is going to be in my starting 11 and praise the player just to, praise their conduct. I do find that any player that you praise the conduct of, as you can see here, it does normally improve their morale. So that's quite a good thing to do. Another good thing that you can do is to try and praise the performance of the players in the last game that they played. So even like this match here where we did actually, this isn't actually a team that I'm managing at the moment. I just took them over just to show you some examples here. But yeah, you can basically see that this guy scored a goal and it looks like James McCarthy managed to get an assist in the last game. So what you could do, for example, you could go to speak about praise player, praise his last game, and just praise him for the amount of quality chances that he's created in the last game. What I would generally try and do, guys, so for your goalkeeper and your defenders, if you do keep a clean sheet or if they do play particularly well, then always praise them for the clean sheets that they might have kept. If any of your midfielders either make quite a lot of key passes or they get an assist, always make sure that you're praising them for that. And of course, if your strikers are scoring any goals, then make sure that you're praising them for that as well. So James McCarthy, obviously his morale has just gone up as well. I'm also going to speak to James McCarthy and praise his conduct. Sorry, I'll just click on that again. For some reason it's not letting me do it, but if I had done that for James McCarthy, it would have increased the morale of the player as well. So after you have praised the player in their last game as well, you can also start to have a look at the form of the players. I quite often just have a look at their last sort of 5 games just to see how the players have been getting on. So this guy here, for example, I don't know if this is going to work in particular on this occasion. I can certainly see that his his form is quite good over the last 5 games, but his average rating overall has been pretty poor. But basically what you would do is go to speak about praise player, praise recent form, and just say that his form has improved dramatically recently. This has actually worked in this example, which is very good. So you can see that his morale has now gone up to good. Again, if I go to speak about praise player and praise his conduct, it's a good thing to basically just keep in the habit of doing. After you have increased the morale of the players, I think it's going to be a good idea to try and pick your team based upon the form of the player. So if I was having a look at the players in this particular team, I can see that Yannick Bolasie is at the bottom of the ratings in terms of form at the moment. His form throughout this whole season has been very poor. This guy as well, he's got really, really bad form, and he's not been particularly playing that well either. So, for example, what I would probably do is pick, start from the top, just sort by the player's form from the last 5 games, and then just basically pick your team based upon that. Obviously, you're going to have some players that have not played too well throughout the whole season. But a player like, say, Stephen Colker here, for example, you can see that I've done a couple of things to make his morale pretty good. And he's actually been playing fairly decent over the last sort of 5 games. And his average rating for the season is pretty good as well. So if you are struggling and your team's underperforming, what you want to consider doing is just picking your players based upon form. And there's going to be probably a better chance of them actually performing well in the game. And of course, any players that are not performing well at all, even if they are some of your better players like Yannick Bolasie here, is actually considered Everton's 3rd best player on this particular gameplay file, but he's playing absolutely rubbish at the moment. You can see that he got a 6 in his last game and a 6.3 in his most recent game as well. So not playing well at all, and it's going to be best to take players like that out of the firing line. In terms of the things that you can also have a look at, so sometimes you can kind of get too wrapped up when you're playing Football Manager in terms of just trying to make like wonderful tactics. You might try and change loads of things as you're going as well. I do think it would be quite a good idea if you were managing a team to just kind of think about the really simple things that you can do. So I've already mentioned about trying to increase the player morale. That does definitely work in trying to turn around results. But just have a real quick think about the simple things as well. So for your defenders, it's going to be a good idea for them to try and keep a clean sheet. So what I tend to do if my teams are underperforming is just work on the real simple things, like even just trying to keep a clean sheet or just getting like a 1-0 win against the team. That is pretty much, to me, like a perfect result because your team has managed to keep a clean sheet. Obviously, if you do score a couple of goals as well, then you can praise the players that have scored goals. And I just think it gives you a good sort of foundation just to build your team upon, basically. So, yeah, my third tip basically is just to make sure that you're keeping things really, really simple and not trying to overcomplicate things. Just work on the simple things first, like just picking players that are on form. Just try to keep a clean sheet in a game, and obviously just try and score goals. Obviously, if your sort of team is on bad form and you're kind of leaking goals, you do need to work out why exactly you are conceding quite a lot of goals. So if you can try and work that out, just try and get a clean sheet, and then that can sometimes give you a good platform to try and build on for the next few games. Obviously, if you do manage to keep a clean sheet, maybe for like 2 or 3 games, it will give your players a lot of confidence. And then even if you manage to sort of win your game just by like 1-0 or, nicking a goal and things like that, you'll be able to praise your players, improve their morale. And of course, if your players are winning games, then, the performances are certainly going to start turning around. So I hope this video has helped you guys. Obviously, it's not very good when you are struggling on any version of Football Manager. So it's important to make sure that you are sort of trying really simple things just to improve the, situation at your club. And I hope this video has helped you. Do leave a like on the video if this has helped you. And of course, subscribe for some more Football Manager tips and tricks. Thanks for watching.